All right, everybody, my name is Chris Greer, and throughout the week, many of you have asked me where I'm from or where I'm living, and the answer is Costa Rica. So I wanted to tell you the story of how I got there and why my wife and I, right when I turned 30, we sold everything and moved, and just want to tell you a little bit about that. So, and I'll get to my slide in just a minute. So anyway, one day I was driving home from my job. I lived in Seattle. And I realized that I spent about 2.5 hours on the road every day, just commuting. Now, to some of you, you might laugh at that and think, I spend that much one way. But for me, it was an hour there, an hour and a half back. So I pulled out a calculator and I did the math on that. You know that if you have a 2.5 hour commute, and you do it every day, and you just take 2 weeks off a year, then you're spending about 26 days sitting in traffic. So that's a year. So I thought, 26 days sitting in traffic, if I'm gonna do anything for 26 days, I better like it. And I wanna be around people that like it too. So I told my wife, I'm gonna just make a little test. I'm gonna drive home from work one day, and I'm just going to look around in the cars next to me. And if I don't see any smiles, we're out of here. And so we got out of there. But basically, that was a very short story. But basically, so I knew people that they worked part-time, they went and volunteered their time, they helped other people in some really awesome ways. They traveled more, they made less, and somehow it all just worked. And they're the happiest people that I knew. And somehow they found this secret that for them was just a way of unplugging from this system, you could say, that we're plugged into. And they just had this freedom. I just wanted to know what that was like. And just go to another country, learn another language. A lot of people don't have the opportunity to do that. So what we did is we sold everything, sold house, sold, I'm the only guy here that sold a car. I didn't buy one, right? I sold it. But what I found is that step by step, it took us about 2 years, but we got our life down to about 4 bags each. That includes my wife, and she's a really, really good cook. So that means kitchen, pots, pans, everything. Oh, and shoes. It's hard, so good job, babe. But basically, so we ended up moving to Panama. So the hardest part about it all for me, personally, was I love my job. I love what I do. As we all have a passion for what we do. That's why we're here. But one of the things that people told me was like, Chris, you're committing career suicide. If you get out of this IT thing, if the train's gonna leave the station and you'll never catch it again, you're basically it's gonna leave you behind. So really think about this. You're gonna go move to Panama and you're done, basically in IT. And that was the scariest part, leaving my job. And so my wife, for several months ahead of time before we moved, she's like, did you tell your boss yet? Did you tell your boss yet? Did you tell your boss yet? I was scared too. And I mean, we sold everything else, literally living, I was sleeping on the couch somewhere, but I still was like, that job was the hardest thing. So finally, one time, well, I told my boss, I gave him about a month's notice. I said, we're just gonna up and move to Panama. He's like, all right, go for it. And the last day on my job, I go to leave the office, and literally I had my personal phone. I put my hand on the door of the building I was in. I get a phone call. And it's for a company I used to work at. And they asked me, did you leave your old job yet? And I had my hand on the door and I was like physically or? And they said, hey, actually physically, go ahead and leave. So, okay. Okay, good. Now I'm no longer an employee there. I said, okay, for legal reasons we couldn't talk to you, but basically, we heard you're moving to Panama, of all places. We've been holding on to a job that you can do remotely. We've been waiting to offer you this job, but we couldn't offer it to you until you left. Wow. So just so you know, you're good. I said, wow, that's amazing. Okay, I mean, I'm a believer in, blessings, and that was definitely one of them. But anyway, so one of the last things we had to do before we left is we went downtown Seattle to sell our car. My wife and I went down there, met the guy that was gonna buy our car, again, selling my car. He shows up at the bank, we sold the car, he drives off, and my wife and I are standing there on the corner watching the guy drive off on our last earthly possession, other than a few pots and pans. We get on public transit, we go back home in a bus, and someone across the way in the bus just leans forward and just says, "Did you guys just get married or something?" We're like, "No, we didn't." "Well, you guys have this glow about you. There's a thing, it's like you guys seem like you just got married. So like you have this energy." I said, "No, I mean, it's gonna sound funny, but I don't have a job. I just sold my car. I don't really have anything, and we're gonna move to Panama next week." And the woman says, "Well, geez, I don't have a job, I don't have anything, and I'm not that happy." But the point of the story is, and I didn't really get to that side because I was gonna talk about in Costa Rica. I now live in Costa Rica, we moved up from Panama. But one of the things that we've learned about is first world problems. And I saw the slide and there was an accidental switch of letters. WFPs instead of FWPs. This is an example of a first world problem. Some people would get really worried about that, but something I've learned in Panama is to really love other people, help other people. Some of the other speakers were talking about that. Right now my wife and I are helping people that they speak a language that's only spoken there and they've never seen it in print. So the government actually approved of it becoming a written language, and we're helping them learn to read their own language, which is really, really fascinating. So, point of the story, if you have that big risk, that thing that's holding you back, walk through the door. You really do not know what's going to be on the other side. It might be the best decision that you've ever made. So that's just another thing that you might want to think about if you spend 2.5 hours in traffic every day. Thank you.